Hello, today for math we are going to use attributes to match shapes. And what attributes means, it's a big fancy word for saying how many sides a shape has and how many vertices a shape has. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a minute. So we're going to start by thinking about shapes. What do you know about shapes already? So if you turn to page 747, the directions say to draw an object from your classroom that matches each shape below. Okay, now Miss Black is not a very good drawer, so she is going to find pictures of objects that we have in our classroom or maybe in our home. So the first shape is a square. And when I think of a square, I think of something that we use all the time in class. I think of a dice, right? If you look at one side of the dice, right, that is a square. It has 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. And I can highlight them so you can see them. That's one side, 2 sides, 3 sides, 4 sides. And what's special about a square is that all the sides are the same size, the same length. Another shape that we have in our school is a rectangle. We might see rectangles all over the place. I know my table is a rectangle. My desk is a rectangle. Something else that's a rectangle that we use in our centers a lot is a clipboard, right? We use a clipboard, and a clipboard, this part right here is a rectangle. It also has 4 sides, just like a square. 1 side, 2 sides, 3 sides, 4 sides. Square and a rectangle are a little bit different though, because a square has sides that are all the same length, and a rectangle, all the sides aren't the same length. Another shape that we have in our school is a circle, and something that we've been talking a lot about in math is a circle. It is a clock. A clock is a circle, and what's special about a circle, it has no straight sides, right? All the circle side is all curved edges. Right? They're not straight. We can't draw a line all around it. It's all curved. And that is a circle. A triangle. I couldn't think of a shape that is a triangle that we could find in our classroom, but I found something that I actually ate today. It is a piece of pizza. A piece of pizza is the shape of a triangle. It has 1, 2, 3 sides. So a piece of pizza is a triangle. And the last shape is a hexagon. If you look at a hexagon, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. So something that we might see that is a hexagon is a sign, like for road work, right? This is a man holding a flag, and it's saying, slow down because there are men working on the road. So this sign has 6 sides because it's a hexagon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. It's the same shape. It has 6 sides. That's called a hexagon. So today we're going to talk a little bit more about shapes and how we can name them based on their sides. So these shapes are 2-dimensional or 2D shapes. That's how we would name them. They're plane shapes, and we can define 2D shapes by how they look, which means we can name them by how they look. So we're going to take a look at these shapes right now and talk about how many sides and how many vertices they have. Those are pretty big words. And I know you know what sides is. I talked a little bit about it in the last page, but let's take a look at these different shapes and their sides first. When we talk about sides, we talk about straight sides. So if we look at this rectangle up here, it has 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. Around the edges, they're straight sides. That's how we would talk. When we talk about sides, we talk about the straight edges. Okay? But when we come and look at this circle, a circle is a little different. It doesn't have any straight edges. It's all curved, so it doesn't have any sides. It actually has 0 sides. Okay? Triangle is a little different. It doesn't have 4 sides, it has 3. So when we see a shape with 3 sides, we call it a triangle. And then lastly, we have a square. And a square has 4 sides like a rectangle, but a square and a rectangle are different because a square has 4 equal sides. All the sides are the same length. So let's take a look at these shapes over here and let's talk about their sides, okay? Remember, let's start with the circle. The circle is a little bit different. A circle doesn't, if I traced this edge of the circle, none of the sides are straight. So it doesn't have any sides, so that would be 0. It has 0 sides. Vertices. Vertices means 2 sides that come together. If a circle has 0 sides, then it has to have 0 vertices because it's where 2 sides come together and meet. For example, if we look at this square over here, we have one side and another side that come together, and where they meet is called the vertice. So the vertice is where 2 sides come together. So a square has 1, 2, 3, 4 vertices. A rectangle also has 1, 2, 3, 4 vertices. It's where one side and another side come together and meet. So where they cross together, that would be a vertice. A circle doesn't have any straight sides that cross together, so it has 0 sides and 0 vertices. Let's take a look at this triangle. First, I'm going to trace the sides so we can figure out how many sides it has. We have 1, 2, 3 sides. So the number of sides is 3. But how many vertices does it have? Let's take a look. Where this side and this side come together, here's a point. Where they come together, that's one vertice. Where this side and this side come together, that's another vertice. And then where this side and this side come together, that's a third vertice. So this has 3 sides and 3 vertices. Okay. The last thing that we need to remember about with shapes is to call it a shape, it needs to have closed sides. Look at this shape. Do you see how right here, those sides are not touching? They're touching all the way around. All the sides are connected. They're touching. But then you get over here and they're not touching anymore. Where they aren't touching, that means that they're open, right? It's kind of like a door that's open and closed. When it's open, it's not a real shape. So we can't give it a name because it's open. When it's open, it's not real. So that shape is called closed. That shape is called open. The rest are called closed. So this shape is also closed. And this shape is also closed because all of their sides are touching. There's nowhere open. Okay? Let's take a look on the next page at some examples, and we'll count the number of straight sides and the vertices and decide if the shapes are open or closed. So if you take a look at number 1, let's trace the sides. When we trace the sides, it's the easiest way to count them. So I'm going to trace the sides and count them as I do it. 1 side, 2 sides, 3 sides, 4 sides. So we have 4 straight sides. Now it's asking if it is a closed shape. Are there any sides that aren't touching? It's a little hard to see when I trace over it, but I'll erase it so it's easier for you to see. But all of their sides are touching. There's no openings in the shape for us to get through. So that means, yes, it is closed. Now let's go to number 2. How many vertices are there? We have a side here and a side here, and where they come together is called a vertice. I'm going to circle it. Then we have a side here and a side here, and where they come together or where they meet is another vertice. So I see one vertice, 2 vertices. Is this shape open or closed? It says, is it closed with a question mark? So it's saying, is the shape closed? Uh-oh, right here, I see where these 2 sides are not touching. There's an opening in this shape. So is it closed? No, it is not. It is not a closed shape. So we're going to write no there. For this last problem, number 3, it asks how many straight sides? I'm going to trace my sides again to help me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 straight sides. Now, is it closed? Let's take a look. Are there any openings in this shape? I don't see any openings. All of the sides are touching. So yes, it is closed. All right. So what I want you to remember, sides are the straight edges. If they are curved, they're not called a side. Also, if there's vertices, it's where one side and another side come together when they make a point, right? That's called a vertice. And lastly, is a shape open or closed? Are there any openings in the shape? Think of a door. When a door is open, we can get in, right? If you can get into the shape, it's an open shape. It's not closed. We need closed shapes. So I want you to turn to page 749 and complete the independent practice problems on your own.